Don?
Yes.
Helen? Welcome in.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Yeah. Looking forward to talking it over and walking down memory lane with you. Helen, let's start with you. Born March 14th, 1957. What can you tell me about your parents, your siblings, and your early childhood memories?
My parents, Tom and Wilma, they were married 58 years, just short of 58 years when my father passed away in 2005. They were a wonderful couple. My dad was one of the best people on the face of the earth.
Why was he so great?
Kind and compassionate and wouldn't say a bad word about anybody. Always helping people do things. He had a massive coronary at the age of 39.
Wow.
At work at Sears on Kings Highway. And if he wouldn't have been at work, he probably would not have made it, but he did. And he ended up having to retire at 49 because of some other issues. He had gotten shot in the head when he was 13 on a
shot in the head?
Hunting accident, yes. And so he would have seizures. Luckily, Don and I only saw one seizure.
It happened at the airport.
Yeah.
He was in the back seat of the car, and he just...
Yeah, it was...
I had never seen it like that before, so I was like, holy...
Yeah.
The thing of it is, when he comes out of it, what's the matter with everybody?
Yeah,
He was... Oh, is that right? So he couldn't... He didn't...
Yeah, I mean, and he was born in 25, so... I mean, they couldn't get the bullet out.
Yeah.
And so if he would get overtired or excited, he could go into a grand mal seizure. But brought up in the Catholic faith, went to Catholic grade school, public high school. Have an older brother who is 73 in next month. Because he was 5-6 years older than me, I went to public school because he had gotten a scholarship to Rosary High School, and then he went on to become a doctor. So I didn't go to college because my parents didn't have any money left. So we did a lot of vacationing, same every 2 weeks, the last 2 weeks of every year, of every July. Sorry, I'm a little nervous.
Yeah. You go every July
Yes.
to the same place? Where would you go?
We went Minnesota. Lake Osakis, Minnesota, which is where they honeymooned, and then met a couple, and we went back there all the way until probably I was 12. And then we started venturing out to the west, and we did North Dakota, South Dakota, spent every last week of our trip at the Cheyenne Frontier Days in Wyoming. That was, so many good memories of those type of things. And Colorado. My dad loved the West, and so he bowled in a league at Crest Bowl, and on Friday night, Mom would have the car ready, the station wagon ready, and we would head out after bowling. Like 9:30, 10 o'clock, and then he would drive.
He would drive through the night?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
How about that? Oh, those are great memories.
Yeah.
What was it like? You're growing up, I gather, on the north side if your brother's going to Rosary.
Yes, Florissant.
Okay, so
born and raised in Florissant. Yeah, I lived in fact, we just moved my mom out of the house a year ago. She was there 68 years.
Wow.
So I was born in that house in Florissant.
How about that?
Yeah.
Don, what can you tell me about...
I was born and raised in Florissant also, off of Parker Road. Went 8 years to Our Lady Loretto. Then 2 months to Rosary, and then the rest of the time to Hazelwood Central.
Hazelwood Central.
Yeah. My mom and dad were Don and Audrey. My dad was a painter, as was I. We never did vacations. Our My thing was, my dad was into horses.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, so after every baseball game.
As in riding or betting on?
As betting. So after every baseball game, didn't even take my uniform off. We went to Fairmont and Cahokia Downs.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. And,
Don got in trouble in 5th grade for reading the form sheet behind us.
I had to do a book report one time, and I did one on a farm sheet. The only saved me was the teacher that I had. His best friend was Dave Johnson, was the announcer over at Fairmont.
Oh, is that right? And probably loved saying, hey, Dave, you won't believe what I got here.
Yeah. So, but no, and my dad taught me how to paint, taught me how to bowl. Grew up in a bowling alley. Good friends with the Weber family.
Oh, wow, really?
They were John was best man at my wedding. She used to babysit Pete.
Oh, no way. You babysat Pete Weber.
That's why he turned out like he did. She was influencing him.
No, whenever Juanita would go with Dick on tour, I would stay at their house and, babysit Pete. He was a handful.
Did Pete show signs of the personality that he did?
Yeah, he was always a rebel.
Is that right?
And we both, he always tug around with me and John at the bowling tournaments and that. And you always had to keep an eye on Pete.
Is that right?
Pete was.
Who do you think you are? I am.
Yeah,
that's one of the greatest lines ever said in sports.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but no, it's had a good childhood. Can't complain. My dad loved sports, loved betting on sports. Every Thursday night, we went to the bookie's house, dropped the money off or picked the money up.
Oh, I was about to say, was he drop it off or was he pick it up?
Either way, that was Thursday night. It was payday.
Yep.
Either way, so but it was good.
Were you playing a lot of sports growing up?
I played mostly baseball, little soccer. Since you went to a CYC school, you played soccer.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I wanted to play soccer at Rosary, but at that time that was the thing. You had 110 kids going out for the team, and the first 2 cuts were you just run.
Yeah.
Then once you stop running, you're off the team.
That's how we're going to weed them out.
That's how we're going to weed them out.
Yeah.
That wasn't.
Yeah.
That
wasn't going to happen. Yeah.
So, and as all my friends say, my first love was going to Hazelwood, so I had to leave Rosary to go chase her, as they say.
And that
I thought I'd say that before she did.
Oh, no.
No, but it all worked out for the best. Didn't go to college. I worked at a bowling supply shop for 3 years, and my dad said, "Well, if this is all you're going to do," I had aspirations about being a pro bowler, but
were you?
I don't like to travel. I didn't like to travel.
So if you were good with traveling, you think you could have been a professional?
I don't think so. I come at the time when I was a straight shooter, and the crankers were all coming in.
I see.
And
that's interesting, really. Because all I have ever seen is I guess what you would call the crankers.
Right. Marshall, Holman, Roth, and all them. Well, the thing of it is, I don't know if you know a lot of bowling, but if I hit the pocket and you hit the pocket and you're cranking the ball, your carry percentage is much more better for a strike than mine is. I'll get 9 or you'll get a strike because of the revs.
Yeah.
The revs of the ball. It's just physics. So, but that was,
Did you try to adjust to go to that style?
No.
No.
No, I wasn't physically able to do that.
Yeah.
I learned from Dick Weber, down in the end.
Sure, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, it was, like I say, spent a lot of time at the bowling alley. Back in the day, before GPSs, if I had to know where someplace was, just say, what bowling alley is it by? I'll find it.
So, awesome. Well, you were talking about you guys and your relationship. How did you meet? I'm sure you can recall.
At the bowling alley.
At the bowling alley, yes.
Snack bar lady.
You were the snack bar lady? Which bowling alley are we talking about here?
Dick Weber Lanes.
Oh, there you go. Nice. It always goes back to the Webers.
We met at the bowling alley.
Do you remember the first time you saw each other?
I don't know.
I do.
Oh,
he always used to. He said he doesn't remember this, but he always used to order 2 chili dogs.
Oh, that had to be
And-
attractive.
Well, Don was very overweight.
At one time, I was 248 pounds.
Wow.
And this is a funny story because I kind of befriended his younger sister and was kind of watching after her. And that's really who I met first. And he wanted to go out with me, and I wasn't attracted to him at the time. And I lost touch with him for a while, and all of a sudden he shows up and he's got a brand new Trans Am and he's lost 70 pounds, and he had a really cute blonde girlfriend named Jan.
Oh, wow.
And I was like,
look at this.
gosh darn,
Yeah,
I
you
blew
missed
it.
out. Yeah,
I
yeah.
said I blew
Don's
it.
stock is skyrocketing.
It did.
I'm trending in the right
Yeah, you're
direction.
But but I ended up asking him out again.
Wow.
Yeah.
While he was with the cute blonde?
No, I don't know.
No,
I
you
don't
didn't.
remember
No,
that
you
part.
didn't.
I don't think you were.
No, I wasn't going out with her at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. You can be honest. She's probably not going to watch this.
No.
No.
So,
So yeah, that's where
So
we
it was
met.
the Trans Am.
It was the Trans Am.
like
all the
Smokey the
way.
Bandit, baby. Burt Reynolds.
That's awesome. Do you remember your first date?
Yes, we do.
Okay, what do we got?
We went to Arcabassos off
Off of West Florissant.
West
Oh, all
Florissant.
right. I feel like I've heard of. I'm a South Side guy, so
Yeah.
it's North Side, but I feel like I've heard about that.
Yeah,
place.
it was a very good Italian restaurant.
Yeah,
And neither one of us really had a very good time.
we didn't.
And it was
Really?
like, well, this date's over with.
So what happened? What's going
Just
on?
was there.
Okay.
I wanted to get back to the bowling alley. I was more into bowling than I was girls at that time.
Yes.
That.
And how old were we then?
Yeah, how old were you guys when this was
Probably
going on?
18,
yeah.
19.
18,
Okay.
19, something around there.
We went
Yeah.
together for how long?
We were.
We were engaged 3 different times.
2.
Oh my.
2 different
Two
times.
different
We
times.
got engaged in 78, and then I broke it off because I knew he wasn't ready to get married.
How'd you know that?
He had another girl.
Oh well.
That
That's
he-
usually a tell.
I never snuck. I wasn't a cheater, though. I always up front said, hey, I want to date somebody else.
Yeah.
Well, the joke was he'd bring me home from a date because he was dating both of us, and when he'd bring me home from a date and say, Helen, we need to talk, I knew he was breaking up with me again.
Oh wow.
So-
So that happened.
Oh, multiple times.
I want to go back to the first date. So it didn't go well, obviously.
No,
Where
and
did
we
we
both
go?
we
Did we go to the show?
we did, and then you took me home, and then you went to the bowling alley. I didn't know you were going to the bowling alley, and I went to the bowling alley because I said I was.
Wow.
I said I was just going to go to bed or whatever, and yeah, so that wasn't good.
So then, did you guys? Was that a little awkward? I would imagine.
It was
It
awkward.
was awkward, yeah.
It was
But,
awkward.
it just wasn't ready to settle down with anybody.
Sure. But something had to be there for you guys to wind up going back out again, even though the first date didn't go well. And what
Yeah.
was that?
Mostly it was him because I was into him at
Yeah.
that point, but I just needed him to figure out who he wanted,
Yeah.
and right.
Right.
Yeah.
See, I grew up around adults. I mean, being in a bowling thing.
Yeah.
I was 18. In fact, I couldn't play my senior year at Hazelwood. I couldn't play sports at that time because at that time you were getting prize money from bowling.
Wow. Really?
Yeah, so technically you were no longer an amateur.
I see. So you couldn't. play
Right.
because-
In my senior year, I was called down to the counselor's office, and the gal says, "Is there a problem at home?" I said, "What? Why?" She said, "Well, you miss at least 1 to 2 days a week of school." She said, "Do you have a job or something?" I said, "Well, you could call it that." I said, "I action bowl a lot." I said, "I'm a young guy, and there's a lot of older guys that like to bowl for money, and I like to take their money." And they don't get done. The leagues at that time was 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
They didn't get done until 11 o'clock. So we would bowl jackpots from 11 until 2 o'clock in the morning. Well, I'm not getting up to go to school. It's not happening.
Yeah.
So that's how.
I think he missed 60 days in his senior year.
Yeah.
But he passed.
I passed.
Yeah, right, when it's all said and done.
Well, when you got at that time, when you come from a Catholic school, when you went to Hazelwood, it was like a refresher course.
Oh, is that
Because
right?
at that time, that's how far advanced Catholic schools were at that
As
time.
opposed to
a
at the
public
time.
school.
Yeah, sure.
You know, it was like, well, hell, I had this in 7th grade.
I don't need to show up. I can take care of this test.
So, but no, that was the crux of that.
Yeah. So you guys eventually do get married. Tell me about how you proposed.
I wasn't at
Top of the tower,
Top of the Towers, yeah,
the second time.
the second time.
Yeah.
It was Top of the Towers restaurant on Lewis and Clark
Yeah.
in Chambers.
Yeah.
The home of the spinning salad, as they used to call themselves. I know you're not familiar with. It was at Chambers and 367.
Okay.
It was one of them tower restaurants.
And so it moved
It
around?
moved.
Oh, did it really?
Yeah, Top of the Towers,
Yeah.
and so at that time it was one of the nicer North County restaurants
Right,
going.
right. Yeah.
You know, you get the Chateaubriand,
Sure.
share
Yeah.
for two, and
Yeah.
all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
He
but
kept
yeah.
the ring all the time.
Well, you
so
know, I knew it was going to be. It just wasn't ready.
Yeah. Well, good. I mean, that's
You know,
good
and-
self-awareness.
and looking back on it, if she wouldn't have called off the first time, we probably would have got divorced.
Yeah. Well, then that's a great thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Then
I
that's
mean,
a
it
great
was.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. It turned out perfectly.
Tell me about your wedding day.
Oh gosh, it was.
Our wedding day was at St. Thomas Apostle. The only thing I remember is my best man was John Weber. He not used to the Catholic type deal with the
Kneeling.
up and down.
Sure. Yeah.
Got overheated, passed out, and I'm thinking, is this a sign? Am I getting a sign here that maybe this ain't supposed to work?
He passed out, and my brother was there. So my brother went back to assist him, being a doctor or being a physician.
Oh, yeah.
And he made it back.
Yeah, he made it back for the end. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then our reception was at the Pipe Fitters Hall.
We had 400 people.
400 people.
Nice
We went-
buffet.
Then we went back to the. They used to be on the Rock Road. On Lindbergh.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had honeymoon in Vegas.
Honeymoon in Vegas.
Yeah, honeymoon
Yep.
in Vegas, and
Well, we had our rehearsal dinner at Christo's restaurant, and it was the night the Cardinals won the World Series. So they brought
wow.
a TV
yeah, that
in
was one of the
for us,
stipulations. I said you gotta have a TV there.
Absolutely.
So we're not doing
So
this.
everybody's probably there having some drinks and
Oh,
watching
yeah.
the Cardinals win the World Series.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
How great is that?
Yeah, it was good. It was.
Oh,
good.
that had to be the best.
Yeah, it was a good night. It was a good night.
And you are both huge Cardinal fans, but Helen,
I am,
You're
yes.
in another world with this.
When Ozzie hit his home run in '85,
Yeah.
I pulled it. We had a Dodge Polara. No. Yeah, a Polara. Didn't we have? Anyway, I had my. Ashley was born in April of '85, and so then October of '85, I have the game on the radio coming home from work. I left her in the garage, ran in and turned the
Dodge
TV.
Caravan.
Not yet. We still had the brown car.
Well, Marquis.
Yeah, the Marquee.
Marquis, bro.
Yeah, so,
So you're in there watching the game. Your
I'm
6-7-month-old is hanging out in the car.
in the car. Yes, she was. And I think one of, maybe fast forwarding a little bit, but one of my most proudest moments, my girls are both huge fans. And they got to go to Game 7 of 2011.
Oh, wow.
So having them be able to see a World Series win.
Yeah, a Game 7, no less.
Yeah.
How did you become such a big Cardinal fan?
Family.
Yeah.
My brother, who's, like I said, 6 years older than me, a huge Cardinal fan. And my dad was a salesman and a mechanic at he was in a mechanic first at Sears on Kings Highway. And so his clients, or his customers, were Bob Gibson, Larry Wilson, the football player, Lou Brock.
Wow.
And so I got to meet some of them as a youngster. And in fact, Larry Wilson called my brother on the phone. My dad asked him to call my brother. And my brother taught me to keep score, so I still keep score.
Still keep score?
At
I love keeping
games.
score, yeah.
I do too.
Yeah.
I've, in fact, taught our oldest grandchild, who is a boy, Carter. I taught him I've been teaching him how to keep score. Right now, at 6, he's still, he's interested at times, but, too in tune with everything going on around. But that's kind of funny because his other grandparents, who we're very good friends with, are from Kansas City, so they're Royals fans.
Oh, they're Royals fans.
Yes. And he was in Chicago this weekend with his parents, and they took a picture of him wearing a Cubs hat. He said, "Send this to Nana because I know she'll get really mad." So I did.
Yeah, you probably didn't enjoy seeing that coming in.
No.
Favorite Cardinal moment?
Mine was David Freese.
David Freese, home run, Game 6, 2011 World Series.
Because I think any guy from St. Louis is thinking, boy, I wish that would have been me.
Yeah.
Hometown kid hitting
kid.
home. I mean,
just the greatest.
No.
Well,
and my daughter, after the game, she meets him she didn't meet him. He come into Buffalo Wild Wing to get something to take home. So
After Game 6?
Yeah.
It was the next week.
Next week.
I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. She's sitting there.
He wins the Game 6, then he hits Buffalo Wild.
She
I would have liked a little bit more out.
She texted out a picture saying, "Oh, just hanging out with the World Series MVP." He was nice enough to take a picture with her.
Yeah, great guy.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Great guy. Yeah, I mean, we've got Pat Maroon with his goal, hometown hero, David Freese with his.
Yeah.
Helen, what is yours? I mean, obviously, Freese is incredible.
It's definitely probably the top one.
Yeah.
But, I mean, just the inning before that, I was in the closet when Josh Donaldson hit the homer to go ahead again.
Oh, Josh Hamilton.
Hamilton
in the 10th inning after the Cardinals had
Yes.
tied it with Freese's triple.
Right.
Yes. Yeah, and you have Hamilton's home run off of Mott, so you go from the ultimate high to the terrible low.
There's been so many.
I know.
Matt Adams.
Matt
home
Adams against Kershaw,
runs,
2014.
Yes.
Pujols Lidge.
Yes.
That's a great one.
Yeah.
Coming back against the Nationals in Game 5.
Oh, yes.
That one flies under the radar.
Mm-hmm.
Yadi Molina to win the series against the Mets in
Mets.
2006.
I was sitting on the front porch.
So you can't watch the games. You don't do well with this.
Well-
and then Don has to go play in the role of broadcaster.
Yeah.
I have to either be the bearer and good news or bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, even last night, I spent the night.
The Cardinals beat the Pirates, and Paul Skeens, as we sit here in July 2024. Maybe when people listen to this, Paul Skeens will be in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
You know,
Possible.
it was the first time he ever lost a game. Last night,
First
Cardinals won 2-1.
time. And my daughter said, "Do you want me to lay with Riley?" And I said, "No, I don't want to watch," because they had tied it up. The other Pittsburgh had tied it up, and so I have so many probably. But Freese probably has got to be just the whole encompassing.
That 90 minutes is just like, I don't know what else you could ever ask for as a baseball fan. You know.
And it was related to the Cardinal moment, but I used to go to the racetrack all the time. Mm-hmm. Back then, on the end of the program, they used to have a thing that you filled out. You threw it in a thing.
Yeah.
The last night of racing, they would draw out, and the winner would get a brand new Cadillac.
Oh.
So we were over there that night. My dad was real good friends with the general manager at Fairmount Park. He said, "Does your boy want to go down and draw the thing out? You usually get some money for that." My dad said, "Yeah, he'll go down there." So I drew it out, and some guy came up, and he gave me $20. Well, Jack Buck was there.
Oh.
He came up to me and said, "How much did you get, kid?" I thought it was a lot of money.
Yeah, sure. You better believe it.
He reached his wallet and gave me $100.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. I'll never forget that. I'll never.
that?
I was only like 12 years old.
That's so great.
Oh, it was.
I'm
It
telling
was a classic.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that of all the memories, it still sticks in my mind.
That's
I
the
just
best.
see that.
Oh.
What did he give you, kid? I thought, $20.
Look at this, Mr. Buck.
Yeah, here's 100.
Here's 100. Wow, that was a big night for you.
Oh, yeah, it was a good night.
Yeah. That's outstanding. How'd you handle 1985? I remember my mom walking around the block not wanting to watch that.
No.
And so Game 6 with Don Denkinger blowing a call, no instant replay at the time.
No.
If there was,
And
the
getting
Cardinals
blown out.
probably win a World Series
Yes.
in 85.
Yeah.
You didn't do too well with that.
No, I didn't at all. I remember getting the Bible out. You know, I resort to prayer but that's my thing.
Hey, whatever gets you through it.
It calms me down. One thing about 85 is that my girlfriend, Cindy, worked at Technosonic Studios.
Oh, yeah. Right. It used to be
And-
right there off of 40, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
and she was actually the producer of the Heck of a Year
Oh, I'm
movie.
a big Heck of the Year fan.
So that's where we actually met Mike,
Mike.
but I thought he was Ozzy's bodyguard,
Who's
Mike Claiborne.
Oh, Claiborne. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we got
to go to the premiere of the movie.
it. And Helen says, "Oh, there's Ozzy." She says, "I bet you that's his bodyguard."
Claiborne's got to be flattered to think of it.
Well, at that time, he was
Well,
a,
at
he
the
was a
time, he
good-sized
was
boy.
a big guy. You know, he was
a big boy.
So we still laugh about that. Yeah, that's where I met him.
That's awesome.
But that movie was great.
It was, man. That's one of my favorite Cardinal
Yes.
teams of all time. People
Yeah.
say 2004. I mean, I was a kid in '85, but I just loved that style of baseball, the stealing bases and the defense and the
Yeah.
big ballpark. Yeah, that was my kind of thing. Who's your favorite player of all time?
My favorite player is probably Yachty.
Yachty. A lot of people say Yachty.
Yeah.
Mine was Lou Brock.
Lou Brock. Yeah.
Yeah, and he got to meet
Yeah,
Lou
you got to
Brock.
He made a spring training a couple times. It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've been pretty lucky with Cardinal players over the years.
Yes.
That a lot of them are just like really good guys. I don't
And
know why that
Wainwright
is.
probably is right up there.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like Scott Rowland too.
Yeah, he was a great competitor.
He was a He was what I classify as a
Cardinal.
He
Yep.
was a Cardinal.
Yeah, grew up in the Midwest.
Right.
Had an affection for the game.
That's
loved
why
the game.
I still think like this year, I don't think they're going to go anywhere. But I think if Edmonds would have been healthy, give me 9 Edmonds and Donovan, Brendan Donovans, and I'll play with you.
Well, it would be
They're ball players.
They're ball players. Yeah.
They're ball players. They'll do whatever it takes to get the job done.
Yeah.
They'll play any position, and they'll do it well.
Yeah, I love that. So you
Yeah.
probably liked Jose Oquendo then.
Oh yeah.
There's a guy who played all the positions in a
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
Well, you were talking about your grandchildren. In order to have grandchildren, you have to have children. We heard about one of your first incidents with your children, with her
Yeah.
being in the car for Ozzy's home run. Tell me about becoming parents and tell me about your children.
Oh my goodness.
Well, being a guy, I always wanted boys,
Yeah.
which is only natural.
Absolutely.
But I soon found out that, especially once they started playing sports, that the girls can do anything that guys can do.
Yeah.
And you're as passionate about their activities as you are. You know, they both played softball early, but both of them volleyball was their
Volleyball's
their
thing,
go-to,
was
yeah.
their go-to. So we spent many weekends traveling, select volleyball tournaments around the country.
I bet you loved that.
Oh, loved it.
Loved it, yeah.
Like I tell people, I don't know where I got to be today, but I know I got to be someplace. I mean, I just don't know, you know. And I tell the young guys now, they say, I don't know how I'm going to do it. I say, hey, enjoy it, because when it's over, you're going to miss it.
That's the
You're
thing.
gonna
Everybody
miss it.
says that.
You're
What
gonna-
is it that you miss? Are you talking about the sports part? I mean, I certainly
The
have been
sports,
raising it. Yeah.
the plus, I mean, you meet a lot of good people.
Yeah.
I mean, all the teammates, parents. I mean,
That's
there's
Doug
a
Hall,
lot
who
of
I
there's
did
a
the
lot
show
of
with, he said his
drama.
best friends for about 15, 20 years were the,
Right.
the kids parents
too.
that you go to all
We
the
still
games.
go out
We
with
still
some
go
of the people
once
that,
a month.
Yeah.
that they
Oh, is that
play.
right? Really?
Yeah, that they play sports with.
How about that?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you
They
got
both
the
went to all
drama.
girls schools.
Okay.
So or
went to Incarnate Word.
Word Academy.
North Side.
But going back to the beginning, the biggest desire for me was to be a mom
Yeah.
and to have girls with dimples, and they both have dimples.
Oh, how about that? You hit the
And now I have
parlay.
grandchildren with dimples. So, yeah, God answered my prayers
Yeah,
for sure. Two wonderful, beautiful baby girls. And
Different personalities?
Oh,
It's the way that it works. I have two boys, and they're like
Nice.
two different human beings.
Yes.
So what's the deal? Is your older one
the
'cause
older
one's-
ones, too much information. The younger ones, no
Is
information.
that right? Great poker player.
Yes, no, nothing. I mean, the oldest one's like me. Her mouth goes before her brain. She said we say a lot of things. We later on we say, God, I shouldn't have said that. The youngest one's like her mom that would do anything for anybody. I mean, the oldest one do it, but she's very conscientious of how other people's feelings
Yeah. Yeah.
were. Not that the oldest one's a bad kid, but I'm just saying that's their one.
it's
works.
okay, Ash. Don't worry.
Ashley works for Express Scripts.
Oh, okay. Big St. Louis company.
Yeah, and then Abby works for Worldwide Technology.
Oh, another. Boy, two
Yeah.
of the biggest St. Louis companies right there.
Both
as we
have
sit here.
done better than we could ever.
Have imagined.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Both of them are very successful,
And great
Couldn't ask
people.
for more.
And as a parent, what else could you ask for?
I mean,
That's
if
right.
if I had to look back on it now and wrote it down, it was scripted just right.
Oh, that's awesome to hear.
I mean, they're both good kids. They're a lot of fun to be around. They got tremendous husbands.
Yeah.
You know. It's perfect. I mean,
That's
you know,
awesome to hear, man.
it
Yeah.
is good.
Yeah.
Life
Not
is
everybody
good.
comes in here and says that.
No, no.
Sometimes, like a son-in-law will take some shrapnel in these conversations.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
No, we
No,
we hit the
could-
jackpot.
No, we did. They're both. I never once worried about how they would treat them. I said that at the rehearsal dinners. I never seen them more happier, and no, it's good.
That's awesome. That's the best. You guys talked about, especially you, Helen, with your trips when you were growing up throughout the West, and now you guys, with grandchildren as well, you have an annual family trip. Is that correct?
We
to
do.
Florida? So where do
We
you go,
do.
and what do you do?
Well, the first one is spring training.
Oh, what a great one.
So
The best.
Yeah. So actually, for the first time next year, we're going to stay 2 weeks.
Oh, great call.
And then Abby and AJ and the girls will come down the first week, and then Ash and Joe and Carter will come down the second week. So we'll be there 2 full weeks. But then our all together is in Carolyn Beach, Florida, which is 30A.
Okay.
And it's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing week.
As parents, my understanding is you're at your peak happiest at this point when everybody's together.
Yes.
Is that an accurate?
Yeah, but like I told her, I said that's why I kind of wanted to. When you get them all together, it's hard to
Chaos.
get everybody in the same page.
Yeah.
And I told her, I said, well, let's do another week and split it up.
Yeah.
That way, because you got little girls, you got a boy.
Yeah.
And Carter's in school, so we need to go when he's on spring break. So, but yeah, they're a lot of fun.
We run a house in PGA National.
Oh, nice. I've done that plenty of times. Love it.
Love it. It's very nice. Close to everything.
Yeah.
The food down there is awesome.
Isn't it the best?
Oh, my
What's your
gosh.
favorite restaurant in Jupiter?
Oh gosh.
Mine is a seafood place.
That's not going to narrow it down.
Yes.
I know.
Jetties.
Jetties.
Daddy's a great play.
Jetties.
Right by the lighthouse.
And between me and you, Mike really likes
Oh, is he limoncello?
Italian.
Limoncello.
Yes.
Limoncello.
I think it's a little overrated. I'm comparing it to some of the Italian restaurants here.
Well, I
don't
understand. I think Mike is more about the, I guess I'll call it ambiance
Ambiance.
Right, yeah.
at limoncello.
But I have their pastas, I'm thinking,
Yeah.
It doesn't stack up to back home.
Oh, yeah, we're a little spoiled about St. Louis Italian food.
Yeah.
I've dined at Limoncello with them a few times, actually.
Right. Yeah. We go there. We go there every year.
It's our tradition, kind of.
Right.
It's always my birthday when we go down there.
You get the shot of the.
Yeah, a shot of limoncello.
There you go. Yeah. You know, it's like Joe Torre's niece is the bartender.
Yeah, we met. Yeah. She's got the growly voice too. The cigarette.
I know it well. It's a great trip, man. That is an absolute tradition.
Yeah, we're very blessed in that regard. We did a lot of sacrificing as the kids were growing up, but now we don't have to do that anymore.
You want to be able to enjoy it. That's a great way to enjoy it, without question.
And then the girls and I also do a trip every year. I won't be able to see the Cardinals at every stadium, but one of my bucket list is to go to all the stadiums.
Oh, you want to go to all the ballparks?
And so we've gotten pretty many done.
What do you got left?
Oh gosh, we still have a lot. That's why I won't be able. I told them I won't be able to make the Cardinals playing all the time, but this year we're going to Toronto.
Oh wow! How
in
about
September when they're there.
Nice.
Last year was
Last
Cincinnati.
year was Cincinnati, and we've been to Seattle and to Atlanta,
Chicago,
Arizona, Chicago.
San Francisco.
We've been to the White Sox. We haven't been together. I've been to Wrigley, but not the three of us. So.
What is your favorite one so far?
I like Pittsburgh.
I still haven't been to a game there. Everybody says that.
Yes, Pittsburgh is really nice. I think the ambiance.
The ambiance.
The bridge and but we had a blast in Cincinnati last year.
Is that right?
We did.
Probably saw some offense.
Yeah, and there would be.
Plus, their attendance was down, so it was easy to get a good ticket.
Get tickets.
That's almost every year.
Yeah.
For them, San Francisco is my favorite. I think it was AT&T Park then.
Yeah.
As we sit here, it's Oracle Park now.
I have never been there. Ashley's been there.
Oh, I thought you said you'd been to San Francisco.
I have not.
No, I thought you did. I thought you were. No.
I have never been to
That's a great
the
one.
ballpark. I've been to San Francisco for volleyball, but not
for a game
not
there.
For a game.
I would think that one will stand out to you. San Diego's is.
San Diego, I think, is on the next year's schedule. We looked at, Abby and I looked at the choices for next year because we need to do like on the week, long weekends because of work.
So it has to work out that way. No, that makes all the sense in the world. I always like to get people's perspective on the difference between being a parent and a grandparent. What's your answer?
A parent, let's see. Being a parent, you'll find out. And I tell younger guys, you'll go along with things that you never thought you'd ever go along. You'll think of things that I'm not going to let my kid do that. They're not going to do that. And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, they're doing it. Grandkids, everything. It's
a free for all.
It's a free for all. Whatever you want to do. Whatever you want, that's fine.
Helen, is that accurate of your experience as well?
Yes. I mean, right now at this time in my life, I live for my grandkids. Yeah. I'm still working a little bit. I don't work a lot, but the time I spend with all is I'm just on top of the world.
She could have no plans that she would not cancel to watch her grandkids.
Is that right?
That's probably.
Is that boy? That's a great way to sum it up.
Yeah. And I got my boy, because we had 2 daughters.
I had 2 daughters, 5 female Cocker Spaniels. I couldn't even get a boy when they used to buy them dolls and they determined the sex when they bring them
Cabbage
home.
Patch.
Cabbage Patch. That's why I was so happy when my daughter started dating. I thought, I got
a guy to hang out with.
Coming around.
Yeah.
Boy, if we would have told that guy bowling and gambling at 17 that was what was in the next few years we're going to look like, he would have been like, oh, wow, that's going to be a change.
Yes.
But like you said, wouldn't have it any other way. I love your answer here. I was saying to our producer, Grant, before we started up, This answer is becoming a constant in every one of these conversations I have with people. How do you feel the world has changed in your lifetime? What has been changed for the better, and what has been changed for the worse? I will start with the for the worse. I think 90+% of the conversations I have with people, they cite social media. And I see you, I believe Helen filled this out, cited social media. Are you on social media in any form?
I am on it, yes.
What platform?
Instagram and Facebook.
Okay.
I'm not on X. I enjoy seeing friends' pictures.
Yes.
But I don't enjoy at all the negativity of people. But then I catch myself reading them.
Yeah.
It's certainly something that I would like to give up somewhat, at least try. I just think it's kind of a downfall of the nucleus of the family.
Oh, interesting. You think it's a downfall of the nucleus of the family? That's interesting.
Yeah, I just think the
like the phones with people sitting on the phones as opposed to interacting?
Yeah, you see people eating dinner, all these people eating dinner there.
Yeah.
Nobody's talking.
Yeah, just sitting, scrolling away. Scrolling away.
And while I know that there's good things about it, there are things that come out and people asking for prayers, and I don't think it's all bad, but I'm concerned about the hatred of why everybody's angry, just because we've never been those type of people, where we've been angry.
And I don't think you were growing up or even in adulthood. I think this is a relatively new phenomenon.
It is.
I mean, back in the day, nobody knew what your politics were.
Yeah.
Nobody ever discussed politics.
Right.
And with me, I was a union man. Okay. I was grown. You don't even look at it. You just go right down to D, brother, and scratch off that.
Yeah.
But now I've done 360 last two elections.
Oh, is that right?
Because this is not the Democratic Party that I grew up with.
That you grew up with. Yeah, I'll have plenty of people who say that when they come in.
I'm not into the woke. If you want to kiss a guy or you want to be a girl, I don't care. But don't throw it down my throat. And don't tell me how I should believe. I mean, I just don't like that part of it.
And he's changed in that regard, personality-wise. And we discuss it.
I watch too much Fox News for one thing, probably. Because I used to be a CNN guy 24/7. I mean,
what changed that?
Starting to watch, I flipped over. I was a big Tucker Carlson fan.
Okay.
And then I'd start watching.
And he was on CNN.
Right.
At the beginning
originally.
of his career.
I started watching videos or stuff that was happening. I thought, I never see this on 2 or 4 and 5 or CNN.
You're talking about the local networks. Yeah.
I'm thinking, you got to show us what's going on. Let us decide. Don't shield us from what's happening in the world now. Let me make my own decisions.
Helen, do you share this, or do you guys differ on this?
We differ on it. Yeah, just because I feel like he's more of an angry person, like not as happy because of.
It's if you're into politics, I never used to be in them, but it's a hopeless feeling. It's like, well, you know what? I guess this is the way it's going to be. There's nothing I can do about it. And I don't like that feeling. I like to have a little control of what's happening with me.
Do you feel that way as well? That it's a relatively hopeless feeling?
I mean,
as we're sitting here in July of 2024, and for those who are listening to this years from now, we are less than 2 weeks away from an assassination attempt on former President Trump, and the Democratic Party has just, President Biden has announced he's not going to run again. You guys saw that happen in 1968 with President Johnson.
Yep.
And it looks like Vice President Kamala Harris is going to run as we sit here. Who knows what things will be in a week? I don't know.
No.
What is your perspective?
I'm concerned about the safety of, my concern is always the safety of my husband and my children and my grandchildren.
Absolutely.
And as it relates to what's going on in the world, I try and, I don't want to say tune it out, but also be realist about how much can I really affect what's going on. But because of the vulnerability, that's a big word, of the country, I mean, that part, flying and doing all of that, just because now is someone actually running the country, or so those kind of things. That's why I try and stay away from not watching.
My oldest daughter doesn't watch news at all.
Is that right?
Neither.
For that
Was she
reason.
always like that, or did something happen to cause her to go, you know what, I'm just getting away from this?
Well, perfect example is one of her favorite shows when she was growing up was The Apprentice.
Oh, wow.
And now she can't stand Donald Trump.
I see.
So, how things evolve.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not saying he's not who I would pick. I mean, I was hoping DeSantis would run myself.
Yeah.
But if I got to have one, I'd rather have, I don't understand, Tim, why they all say if he wins, there's going to be a democracy. Was the 4 years he was in charge, were they really that? I thought they were pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I'm looking at through. I guess like Reagan says, are you better off
than you were 4 years ago?
Than you were 4 years.
Right.
I guess we all look through our lens.
Sure, and it depends on what your situation
right.
is.
And I understand that people
does.
have lost benefits and insurance and that, how they would blame them. But
right.
I just the safety thing. You can't just defund the police. The police are they're your friends.
Yeah.
They're the ones that are protecting our asses.
Yeah.
I mean, I know because we live 5 minutes from a police station, and I messed up one day and called to press the wrong emergency button, and they were at my house in 2 minutes.
Is that right?
Wanting to know if everything was okay. I said, no, I just pressed the wrong button.
Well,
The long story. The long story was I bought the house from a guy that they had 4 or 5 domestic calls from that address. So when that address pops up, it's
we had just moved in.
I told him, I said, we're boring people. you don't have that problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would say in the last couple years, that's where we really differentiate on, where I just don't think it's something that we need to focus that much on.
Because it brings negativity when you focus.
I just feel like, Tim, we're called for working class people. Nobody gave us anything.
Yeah.
And this, I started hearing about
That's
this.
for
We're going
sure.
to pay off college loans. Really?
Yeah.
You don't have to go to a top university. Go to a junior college. You don't have to rake up $200,000 debt.
College debt.
No,
I understand it. I've never seen, this, for me, I started doing this in 2019. And as we said, we're sitting here in July of 2024. And the difference in the tone of some of the conversations when this question comes up is already substantially different just from 2019 to 2024. Because I recall asking people if any time in their lives it reminded them of the late 1960s. And when I first started doing this in 2019, everybody was kind of like, no, that was a really divided time. You had Vietnam, eventually you had Watergate. It was just that was an outlier. And now almost everybody who comes through here talks about social media and talks about how upset they are that they feel the country's divided. Whatever perspective they may have, they don't like the division. That's a constant now.
Yeah.
And that was not the case 5 years ago.
well, I think it should be just like to cut you off.
That's okay.
It's like the show with the 2 guys on Channel 2.
John Hancock.
Hancock and Kelly.
Oh, and
Like
Helen.
they said, we couldn't disagree more on different things, but you know what? We're still friends. We're
absolutely.
friends.
A respectful disagreement.
And that's that's the way it should.
And so I think that goes back to social media and your point with Helen. If you are sitting there in particular anonymously, which is what is usually the case, which is the ultimate, to me, cowardly move,
Right.
then you're going to be quite more brazen when you're not using your own name and then be more mean-spirited, malicious, ignorant. And I think that is where social media is the gasoline on the fire. No matter what perspective I think you're coming from.
Yes.
And I think that anonymity plays in it. As far as the positive goes, you said, my husband may have a different perspective. It has changed so much in our lifetime. For me, it has changed for the better now that our children are grown and are good, kind people with great work ethic, not as much worry and concern for them. That is how you feel. And that's not necessarily commentary on global changes so much as just life changes, I guess, is what you're saying with that, Helen. Yeah.
Yes.
Because you're at peace in this. I mean, I guess you never stop worrying, so to speak, but it's a different kind of worrying as opposed to when they were, 7 and 4.
Right.
Right.
See, I worry more about my grandkids.
That's what my dad says.
The world that we're living in now.
That's what my dad says.
I don't worry about my kids. My kids are going to be able to handle anything that comes their way.
Yeah.
Because of the way they were brought up.
Right. But you just worry about the world's impact on the
as
life
you go,
of your
the way it's
grandchildren.
eventually, Tim, you think it's gotta taper off. I mean, people got these people got to get exactly what they want, and we'll meet in the middle somewhere here.
I would assume if we were interviewing people who were in their 70s or 80s in 1968, 69, 70, they'd be like, oh my goodness, and then eventually it took some time. I think most people would tell you that things calmed down, a decade or so later, so hopefully, like you said, because I mean, to me, it's I mean, I just gave 2 like monster historical moments that have happened in the last 14 days,
Yes. Well, and AJ mentioned something this morning, or Al.
DBA Alan Davis.
Yes, he said it's like, for someone our age, it's kind of been chaotic since 9/11.
Absolutely.
So it's something they're kind of like,
Yeah, I think if you would have asked people in my generation what the signature moment of their lives were relative to 9/11, but on September 10th of 2001, we would have said the Challenger explosion.
Right.
You would have likely said the Kennedy assassination, even though you were young.
Right?
No, that was first grade. Yeah.
Absolutely. And now, I mean, it certainly would be September 11th, but it's like, I mean, take your pick, and you can go almost year by year. I mean, we've experienced COVID, we've experienced chaotic moments in American history, much less if you want to talk about wars. So it is, when hopefully it comes to an end, I'm sure you think for your grandchildren.
Well, like I say, that's because, like I say, it's not going to affect us. I don't think it'll affect our kids, but world.
You think about your grandchildren. 100%. It's exactly what my dad says. All right, final question. And this is we'll start, Helen, with you. What do you know now about living a happy and successful life that you did not know when you were 20? Just to refresh your memory, you wrote, at 20, most everything was wonderful, not a care in the world. The priorities change over the years, and the best part about now is not having to live from paycheck to paycheck, and being able to know that we planned properly, did what we wanted to do with our children and their education, and now can relax a bit.
Yes.
That's what you said. Expound on that, if you will.
It wasn't easy. My husband worked 7 days a week.
Is that right? 7 days a week?
Most of
union painter.
Union painter, and then
got to go
side
when the job's there. You go.
Don't turn nothing down, because you don't know what the winter's going to bring.
Sure. Yeah. You got
the first 6 months of our marriage, he was laid off.
Oh, is that
and
right?
So that was scary for me, thinking, is this what it's going to be like? But once everything became good again with the housing, he worked all the time, and he sacrificed a lot for his family and for me. On the other hand, it wasn't always easy for me, but I had my parents' help. But I don't know anybody that would have done what he did for his kids, and just to be able to do the things. We didn't make a lot of money, and so to be able to do the things like play sports or to do the things that we wanted, a nice house, and to send them to Catholic education, that was difficult for us.
Sure.
And now, you know, it's the opposite, where he's still working because he wants to.
Yeah.
I mean,
Needy and greedy, Tim.
yeah, needy and greedy.
I respect it.
And I work just, I don't have to work to pay bills. I work to keep my brain active. We've taken care of a lot of people. His mom lived with us for 14 months. She died in 2022, and now my 97-year-old mother lives with us. And it's not easy on the relationship. And we hope that our kids don't have to do that. We've taken great.
If my kids are watching this, you're not going to have to do this, because by then they're going to have a pill or something I can take it to say, you know what? See ya. We're done here. I've done my.
This is the last will and testament right here.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm not going to let the government. I'm not going to let everything I work for get taken. I don't want to leave for my kids get taken away.
I see that. I understand.
I know too many people that moms and dads left them $400,000 houses, and they end up sticking on a nursing home for 8 years,
and then that's gone.
That's all gone.
Yeah.
That's gone after all those expenses. Sure.
We are ready to stop taking care of people, though. I mean,
yeah,
we will,
Yeah.
because we have to. We
Right.
don't have a choice.
That would be my one line today. As of today, I'm tired of taking care of people.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really am.
Sure. I mean,
and life's not supposed to. I never thought you had your kids, you raised your kids, you enjoyed your grandchildren, and you got older. Nobody said that the ass end was going to start coming after you, your parents.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, we love our parents, but it really puts a burden on
Yeah,
people.
it's a stress.
I mean, it's 24/7.
Yeah.
You know, people call us up, say, "Hey, you want to do this? You want to do it?" Well, we got, Mom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
And I don't want to put this on my kids.
Right.
They've got their lives to live.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, I follow
Yes,
that.
they do.
But then again, not that I'm real religious. I feel like the guy upstairs has been good to me all these years. I guess this is my way. I have to pay back a little bit.
Well, it's great that you have that gratitude,
Yeah.
though.
You know.
It's great that you have that gratitude. How would you answer that question, Don, with the what you know now as opposed to what you didn't know when you were 20?
Back when I was 20, Tim, the only thing I worried about is how my bowling ball fell. You know, I didn't care about anything about anybody.
Yeah.
You know, it was all about me.
Yeah.
And now I always tell people, you say, well, when your parents die, when you're growing up, you always know that anything you mess up, your parents are going to bail your ass out. And when they're gone, it's like, there's nobody there to bail me out no more.
Yeah.
And that's the way I feel about my kids. I want to be there for them. If anything goes astray, you always have us in your corner. You know.
Yeah. Well, that speaks to an evolution because you've gone from being what you would call selfish to selfless.
Right. I mean, I said I work, and you're a father. You'll find out. There's a fine line between you want to make money, but you want to spend family time.
Absolutely.
You're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't.
Yep.
I mean, there was a lot of volleyball matches that I missed because I thought, well, it's $400. I can make $400 or $500, or I can go watch and play volleyball.
Yeah.
Well,
That's a tough one.
Well, you know, you're averaging $4,000 a kid a year on select volleyball travel and all that. It's not. It doesn't. Nobody's giving it to you.
Right.
You got to make it.
You got to make that money.
You know, and they've said multiple times, we really. That's all I ask.
Yeah, just thank you.
Right.
You recognize there was a sacrifice and there's gratitude.
That's all I ask.
Especially once you become parents, I think you have a greater appreciation for what your parents did.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I just want them to do for their kids like I did.
Yeah.
That would be the ultimate compliment to me. I'm gonna take care of my kids like you took care of me.
Oh, that is a great compliment. That's a great compliment.
So, but starting to sound like Frank Cusimano. Some of his things to his boys are pretty. I almost teared up the last one he did.
Well, you guys have been wonderful.
Well, thank you.
And I'm not surprised. I knew you were going to be, and you were great. Thank you so much for sharing your stories.
No, thank you. It was
and
very
thanks,
nice.
kids, for giving that to us for
Yeah,
Christmas.
yes.
And be sure and when we're gone to
Right.
always be grateful for what you have and what you were given.
Yeah, that's the name of the game.
So.
Gratitude. Helen,
Gratitude.
thank you so much.